We're starting with a slip knot, and then we're going to chain as many as we want in multiple of 4. So the way I keep count is I chain 4 at a time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I just keep going. The chains don't have to be tight, and because it's easier to work with if it's not tight. And I'm going to keep chaining until I reach the length that I want. For example, if you wanted to carry, taking this random bag that I have, but if I have this bag here and I wanted to carry the width of this bag, then just make sure that the chains are just over that length you want. It's going to be a slightly bit longer than the chaining that you are making right now. So at the end of that chain of multiple 4, you're going to make 2 more chain. And now we're going to make a double crochet into the 3rd loop from the hook. So firstly, the 3rd loop from the hook, going to point it out. That 2 extra chain that you just made, the 2 extra chains, that's the 1st and the 2nd loop. The 1st and the 2nd V stitch. So now you're going to make the double crochet into the 3rd V stitch here, looking something like this. You're going to insert the hook in that 3rd loop. To do a double crochet, we're going to wrap the yarn around once and then insert the hook into the 3rd loop, pull the yarn, wrap the yarn or yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through the rest 2 loops, and that is a double crochet. To make the next double crochet, again you yarn over, put the hook into the next stitch. See the stitch here, we already made it, so there's yarn wrapping in there. So you're going to insert the hook into the next loop, pull the yarn, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And you keep doing that. For the whole length of the chains, going to do double crochet into each stitch. Near the end of this row, still continuing making double crochet into each stitch. And if you can see that this is the last chain in this row, so we're going to make 3 double crochet into that last chain. I'm making 3 double crochet because we want to make the corner so that it go around or into that same stitch. So 3 double crochet into that same stitch. Okay. Now we're going to make double crochet into the other side of this row, and we do that by inserting into every stitch, and you can see it as this single like yarn. I don't know how to describe it. Like you can kind of see the V shape if you flip it around. You can kind of see the V shape. So basically you're just going to insert the hook into any stitch that you think you see. So make sure you don't repeat it in the same stitch here, because the first stitch here we have already do 3 double crochet into it. So we're going to the next one. Just put the hook through, and you see that piece of yarn, this yarn tail that we have. We can hide this yarn as we work by simply, when we do the hook, when we put the hook through, put that piece of yarn we want to hide over the hook, and then do a double crochet like normal. Then we're going to do another double crochet, so into the next stitch. Just make sure that you're not doing it in the same stitch again. Just go into the next place that you find, just put it in, and the yarn tail, put it over the hook so we can hide the yarn tail. Do a double crochet like normal, and then we repeat the same process. So it doesn't matter like exactly which place you are putting the hook in, but just make sure that you don't duplicate, or you don't do 2 stitches in the same place, or you don't skip any place. So just be consistent with where you want to put the hook in. So I'm now near the end of this row, still continuing making double crochet into every stitch that I find. But in the last place here, you will see that this is the place where we made our first double crochet here. You will know it because you will see, right, that space, and then there is that so this purple stitch was our first double crochet. Now into here we're going to make 2 double crochet, and the reason why we're making 2 double crochet, it's similar to at the end here, right? At this corner we made 3 double crochet, and so at this corner we have already made 1 double crochet. So now we make 2 double crochet to make it a corner of 3 double crochet. So put into there, making 2 double crochet, And that's the end of the route. Or you could have marked the first stitch here, but otherwise you can identify it. So you see these two V stitches here. These were the two extra chains that we made, and this is not a stitch. Well, this don't count as the first stitch, but this one here was our first double crochet. So now we're going to slip stitch, and to do slip stitch we're going to put our hook through that two loops, pull a yarn and pull through all the loops. Tighten it just by pulling the yarn. Now we're going to make the shell stitch. Firstly, we make 3 chains, and then we're going to skip 3 stitch. So we count it from the next one. So this one we don't count it. We don't count because this one counts as like where these chains are. So we're going to skip 3 stitches from here. So 1, 2, 3. This white, blue, and pink ones. So we skip 1, 2, 3, and you make the double crochet into the 4th. And we're going to make 5 double crochet in total in the same stitch. So we made 1, so now we made 4 more. So there we have 5 double crochet. Then after 5 double crochet into the same stitch, after that we're going to make 1 chain, and then again skip 3 stitches. So that 1, 2, 3. So that like white, purple, pink. That's 1, 2, 3. And then we're making a double crochet into the 4th. And we're going to make 5 double crochet in total into that stitch. So every shell stitch is 5 double crochet. Then we chain 1, skip 3 stitches, 1, 2, 3, make 5 double crochet. So I'm going to repeat that same thing for the whole route. And when I say the whole route, it means the whole one side and the other side as well. So 2 sides. Now I'm near the end of this row, and you will see the first chains that we made. Right, we're going to do a double crochet into that first stitch, into that first stitch from the previous row. We're doing 5 double crochet, Now after making the 5 double crochet, we want to go into this chain over here. So it's the third chain of the 3 chains we made at the start of the row. So we're going through 2 loops, so going under it, under the 2 loops like this, and make a slip stitch. And that's finished our first shell stitch row. Then we're going to make 3 chains. Now we're going to repeat the same thing as the previous row, except that we don't need to count the skip 3. We just make the double crochet into that chain 1. Remember how we chain 1 after every 5 double crochet? We chain 1, so we just make it into that chain, and you can simply do it by putting it in the middle of that chain 1, in the middle of that chain 1, and do a double crochet. Do 5 double crochet. Then you repeat the making 1 chain and then making 5 double crochet into the next chain 1. So you can go under the 2 loops, but it's a bit harder to do that, and just going in the middle will give you the same results. Chain 1, making 5 double crochet into the next chain 1. We're now again at the end of the row, and we're going to do the same thing as the previous row. We're doing 5 double crochet into that space. And just put it through. Making 5 double crochet and then slip stitch into that chain. So with the third chain from the 3 chains we made at the start of the row, or you can find it by looking at the chain before the double crochet. But because you can see this 5 double crochet, so this chain here is right before that. And for this first one, I like to make it like put the hook under the 2 loops, just because it makes that tighter. Oops. So under the 2 loops. But for all the other stitches, you can just insert it in the middle of the chain. Just for this first one, it may be better to make it tighter or make it more stable like this. And then chain 3 and repeat the previous row. Doing double crochet into the next chain you find, and you repeat the same pattern for the whole length of the bag. And eventually you will see that the bag will curve. So for now it's slightly curved like this, and the side that we face is the right side, or it depends on which side you want to face outwards. It doesn't matter, you can flip it at the end, but eventually you can see that it will curve, and then it will make a bag. Now I'm going to attach the yarn by putting the hook through the place where I want to attach the yarn, and then simply pull the yarn through using the hook. I'm tightening the tail, and then I'm making a chain. Then I keep making chains for the desired length of the strap. Now I'm going to attach this yarn by putting the hook to where I want to attach the yarn, and then pull the yarn through. And I do all of this while the strap that we made is still on the hook. So simply making a slip stitch there, tighten by pulling the tail, and then making one chain. I go back into the place and making another slip stitch to make the strap sturdier. Then I make one chain, and then I slip stitch along the length of the whole strap. Now after you have made the last slip stitch, then you're going to slip stitch again into the place where you attach the yarn. Just make a slip stitch, and it comes something like this. Then now you can cut the yarn, pull through, pull all the tail. So now you just tie these two together. Do it twice, and then I'm going to weave this in. Go into that back side, or the inside of the bag, and find some loops to just weave it in and hide it on the inside of the bag. Okay, and now the bag is finished.